A classic entree for a holiday dinner is beef tenderloin. But when I started hosting the holidays, it made me really nervous because they're really expensive and you don't want to screw it up. So this is a no-fail recipe and technique that'll give you a perfect beef tenderloin every time. So here's how you do it. You want to start with a tenderloin, and if you've got a great butcher, you can ask him or her to trim it for you. I've already trimmed most of this one, but if you have to do the trimming, you just want to find these areas where there's some fat on it and some tough. It's called silver skin. You can see it's kind of shiny. So you just want to get your knife right under the silver skin and gently trim it off the tenderloin. So we've got a trimmed tenderloin, and now what we're going to do is tie it. And the reason you want to tie it is so that it cooks evenly and you don't have some parts that are overcooked and some that are perfectly cooked. And just go down and tie a simple knot all the way down the tenderloin. This part's a little bit thinner, so it's gonna cook faster, so I'm gonna turn it in and tie it together. And we will cut off the strings, of course, before we serve it. So we're ready to season it. I think simple is better, so all we're gonna do is cover it with butter and then sprinkle it with salt and freshly cracked black pepper. So I've got about 2 tablespoons of butter, and it really works best if you use your fingers. And since we're also gonna be adding salt, be sure you're using unsalted butter. Okay, so now we're gonna season it very liberally with some salt. And you wanna do it liberally because you're basically creating a crust on the outside of the tenderloin. And now we're gonna do some freshly cracked black pepper. So the tenderloin is ready for the oven, and you want your oven to be very well preheated and very hot. It should be 500 degrees. That's part of the magic of this recipe. You put it in the oven and then don't touch the temperature. If you don't already have an oven thermometer, they're a really great investment. They'll tell you exactly what temperature your oven's at, and all of your cooking and baking will come out a lot more consistent. All right, so I've got my tenderloin out of the oven, and now what I'm gonna do is wrap it tightly with aluminum foil and let it rest for 20 minutes. This part is super important because while the meat is covered, it's gonna continue to cook, and also the meat is gonna relax, and so the juices will kind of redistribute throughout the meat, and we'll have a juicy tenderloin. My tenderloin has rested for 20 minutes, and now I'm ready to carve it. I'm gonna take off the foil, and now we're gonna snip the strings off the tenderloin. All right, so now the moment of truth. Perfect. It's nice and pink in the middle, perfectly medium rare. And I like to cut my tenderloin a little bit thicker, but you can really cut it any thickness you want. Now I'm just gonna plate it. I like to garnish with really simple, colorful things like fresh green herbs and slices of lemons and oranges. And there you have it, a beautiful platter of perfectly cooked beef tenderloin.